When I would cross the border, I did so purposely for the people that were living prisoners that controlled their communities. We shouldn't be living in these chains, enchained by these nefarious organizations, these narco terrorists, because that is what they became. And we have to, the only reason why they have the power that they have, by the way, the only reason is because we empowered them. We allowed them to operate in immunity. Some people like the movie a little too much, but then they paid a big price for that. And now we got to take that power back. And that is exactly what we are doing.
Well done. Man. We're talking about supply and demand. That's why it's important we started with prayer breakfast because I haven't really met anybody who gave up an addiction without having God's help. And then the government has to do the right thing. When you close down the border, President Trump closes down the border, you get this 21% drop, and I guess that's just the first drop. The drop will continue, but there's a lot of people say, "Oh, I thought we just had to close the border." And now it's done. So, okay, give us the next 3 things that have to happen immediately so that we can cut even more of the supply.
Such a great point. Closing down the border is step one, right? It not only protects the American people and our national security and those that want to transport narcotics and illicit narcotics into the United States. But it also allows our officers the ability to do their job and kind of funnel like where those choke points are and be able to try to stop the cartels from moving their supply in other areas. So we understand that the cartels don't want to stop. These cartels, whether it's CJ&G, whether it's Sinaloa Cartel, Beltran Leyva, you can go on and on and on, Aviano Felix, all the derivatives thereof are going to try to look for new and better ways to move their supply into the U.S. So the most important aspect, I think, for us and for our nation and our political leaders is one, we have to monitor emerging threats. Never again in the United States should we have to wake up 3 to 4 years later and say, "Oh, wow, we lost over 100,000 people in a year. Why is there poison fentanyl all over our streets? Why was there a mass casualty in Baltimore? Why is there a mass casualty in Maine?" We need to be 5 to 10 to 15 to 20 steps ahead of our adversaries and ahead of the cartels. We can't give them an inch. And that requires us as a government to work together as a whole of government, which is why the president has been so focused, and I think this is so important, on our HSTFs and working together as a team. And what my office does is coordinate and ensure that the president's money that is being utilized to target the narcotics and the drugs, that money is being utilized properly and that we are looking at the right places, right, to stop this. So first and foremost, we look at emerging threats. We never get caught off guard again. I pray we never get caught off guard again because fentanyl is one thing, but imagine somebody intentionally targeting us, what they could do. And that is a national security threat beyond anybody's imagination. Second, we need to give parents, educators, guardians the tools and the resources to fight back. We can do this by ourselves. I'm telling you right now, we can have the greatest thinkers, the most active minds, the best intelligence, the greatest law enforcement. But unless we have our parents and our teachers and all of those that are out there, our coaches, our activists, very excited, by the way. We're going to be heading to the NFL right after this, so I'm flying. No, I wish I was sitting with the game. I'm not going to the game. Don't get off fellas. That's not it. I'm going to go lunch with the coaches, part of Coaches versus Overdoses, and I'm so excited about working with the NFL on this. But that's about giving children, parents, teachers, everyone you can imagine, our guardian, the tools and resources necessary to fight this fight. I'll tell you a quick story. I was in Ohio during the height of the opioid epidemic. It was the most tragic thing, Matt, I ever saw. I got there, it's like about 2017. I was doing some interviews. And before I went to go meet with Dr. Ortiz, who was coroner in Franklin County, I was talking to all these businessmen, mostly men at that, it was one woman and then the rest were men. And I said to them, if there was a predator and you knew right now, you got a text message, hey, there's somebody at the school and they are coming for your child. If you got that on your phone and they're coming after your child, what would you do? Every single guy in the was like, I would get down to that school, I would kill that guy, I would go after that person, they would never touch my child, everything you can imagine. I said, right now, at your school, that predator is hunting your child. They are. And when they go home at night in their bedroom and they're on their phone and on Snapchat and on all these other social media, which is great because I'm all about the future of technology. But if they're not paying attention to what they're looking at, that predator is hunting your child.
So, Sarah, you said so China could decide, our enemies could decide to have a mass casualty event. So we have to be on the lookout. And the second thing is that you have the White House going after these drug boats, these boats, that, and they're interdicting them and taking steps. That's not going to come to the border. That's coming another way, like to a border or something. So like that's something we got to look at. What else? Like the mail.
Yeah, it's the mail. It's coming into the mail. They're coming in on the boats. They're coming in aircraft. They're finding every which way to try to reroute our supply chain. So for us, and my job, which is I think vitally important for us to look at that supply chain and ensure the safety of the supply chain. Look, I'm all about capitalism, making money. Let's get our supplies across the border. We know how much it is. The billions of dollars Mexico and the United States alone is important to both of our nations. But how are we going to secure that supply chain and ensure that that supply chain is going to be moving smooth, that the trucks that are coming back and forth across the border are not filled with drugs? That is where Mexico and the United States can work together. First and foremost, let's clean up the supply chain and hold companies accountable that do not want to clean it up. If you don't want to cooperate with us, if your supply chain is full of illicit narcotics every time we do an inspection, then we have a problem. Right? Maybe we should do something about it. And these are areas that I know, and I would imagine that Mexico would want to work on with us. Because look, we should be the envy of the world. We should be the envy of the world. We have the most incredible resources, the most beautiful cultures, the most amazing climates. How many people will just want to go to Mexico? I would go vacation to Mexico all the time. That was my life. Oh, where are you going to go? I'm going to Mexico. Why? Because it's beautiful, because the climate's great, because it has everything. The food, yes, the food, number one, of course, the food, everything. We're neighbors. We share so many similarities. We have so much to give one another.
Sarah's so politically correct. Did not say tequila.
I did not think, but I guess. No, I have to be honest. I have not had any tequilas this fall. I'm just saying, there was an experience.
And I'm also happy that you're going to go meet with the NFL owners. So you're not talking about the halftime show. You're talking about real stuff, right?
Yeah.
Real policy. So let the president be able to have
It's about getting the coaches, right? And our sports players. We want our kids to be healthy. Kids no baby is ever born, or human being, right? You're never born thinking, God, I can't wait to grow up. It's right at it. It's gonna be awesome. I'll live on the streets. I'll be dirty. I won't have any money. Maybe I'll just die and no one will even know that I ever existed. There is not one human being that should ever have to go through that. And when I walk on the streets of this country, and I have made it my mission to talk to them. Because any one of those people could be your child. Any one of those people could be your brother. Any one of those people could be your sister, father. They're still human beings. They deserve dignity and they deserve respect. And when I was looking at my third point, and to make it easier for people who want treatment to get treatment, easier for them to get that than drugs on the street. That's what I want.
You didn't get to your third point, because I cut you off, so that's a model.
Yeah, I was just like, I'm
You want to really go through again real fast in order? Okay. Okay. I need repetition to remember all this. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
And I mothers, families,
Yes.
and anyone who is a guardian or a teacher to have the tools and resources necessary to be able to fight this with us. This is a battle, folks. We are the foot soldiers, all of us. We're the foot soldiers, and I really stay awake day and night to fight this with you. Because, and that's what makes this so incredible too, right? For the first time, we have a president that is saying, hey, let's do it. Let's fix this problem. How do you think it needs to be fixed? Let's get out there and do that. Whether it's using the Department of War, the Department of Agriculture, the Housing Department, the HHS and their Secretary Kennedy, Catherine Merkel right now with the Great American Recovery. We are going to work together. We are not going to compete against one another. We are not going to ask for any kind of glory. We are going to work together to solve the problem. Because if we don't, we're going to lose our kids. Now, we cannot afford this any longer. We can't afford to bury our children any longer. It is unacceptable. It should have never happened to begin with. Our children and every person, even in every moment, should know that we care about them, that we love them enough to fight for them, that they mean something. Why do you think kids do this? And they turn and they turn away from their family, they turn away from the church and their faith, and they give into drugs and narcotics and partying and they take the wrong road. A lot of them do that because they just don't feel like anybody cares about them. Like they're just not worth it. And they're looking for that someplace else. Now, everybody has their own individual responsibilities. And I can't make someone get treatment if they don't want to get treatment. That's a fact. It's up to them. But you brought up something earlier, man. You know, and I was thinking about this, and you talked a little bit about the church of faith and how Bukele was talking about that, and I was there to correct this. And I remember Bukele saying, and it's just very poignant, you know, that Solomon didn't ask for riches or money or even for help for his family. What did he ask for? He asked, that's it. He asked for wisdom.
The Congress was already rich.
That is true.
He had some other.
The story, but it's important because you need to seek that wisdom. You really do. And, you know, faith is important.